Welcome Super Souls to the Moon Magic Tarot channel. This is the lunar update, the moon energy update for the week that runs from Saturday the 9th of July 2022 through to Saturday the 16th. And I will be posting these every Friday. So first of all, I'm going to run you through the dailies. I'll bring them full up onto your screen, literally tell you about the influence of each day in terms of the lunar energy. And for those of you who then are serious and really interested about manifestation, or you want to know how the energy of the moon and the phases of the moon are affecting the overall astrological energy, I'm then going to do a kind of working tutorial. Now, for anyone who just wants to skip the dailies and go straight to the tutorial, or if you watch the dailies and want to bookmark the page and come back at a later date for the tutorial, I will put a timestamp in the information box below and in the comments as well for phone users. So Super Souls, let's launch straight into the dailies, and then I will see you for the Moon Magic tutorial. Welcome Super Souls to the moon updates, the dailies. Now this is just a quick energy overview because it's a very dynamic week. We have a super full moon in Capricorn on Wednesday, and throughout this week there's a kind of tension running between the progress that the universe is going to really support, which is based on integrity and our highest potential, but also we may see potential resistance to this. Issues that feel quite emotionally loaded may demand to be addressed, and we almost certainly will potentially see some unhelpful power dynamics that are highlighted as well. All of this is happening because there is a call to find higher-minded solutions. This is not a week to let your emotions get in the way of any form of integrity or resolution. Changes are coming that hold a higher vision for humanity, and whether in a more global way or the immediacy of our own lives, we are really called to step up this week and honour the pathway of greatest and highest potential, especially in moving towards any form of potential healing and resolution. Saturday the 9th, the moon is in Scorpio and the overall astrodynamics are actually very strong, suggesting possible tensions in any areas that speak to us of injustice or inequality. The lunar energy then adds a distinctly karmic feel to the day, so it'll be really interesting to see how this emerges both globally and within our own personal circumstances. I'm rather inclined to think that areas of our lives that are full of integrity are just going to take off and flow. But any situations or people who are operating without honour, they might prove to be a challenge. On Sunday, the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius with a void of course position between 04:34 and 08:35 AM GMT, so it's relatively short. The intensity of the last few days actually shifts, and although there is still some underlying tension in the air, the lunar influence suggests that we can actually invest in constructive progress. So it's not without tension, but we can actually kind of do something about it, even if we have to work at it. We have a choice in this, of course. So whatever you're doing today, take a breather, come up for air, relax, and then take action. Or, do you know, if you really need it, just relax. On Monday, the moon is in Sagittarius and the underlying dynamics are still calling to us of injustice, pressing buttons and potentially touching deeper wounds of the past. There's also an increasing push, and this is coming through the lunar energy, to find healing solutions. And although this is not without tension, the lunar influence will definitely bring impetus to this and try and push it forwards. So keep grounded, focus on clear, higher-minded solutions. Seriously, don't sweat the small stuff, and try not to get drawn in or tangled in anybody else's drama. Hold the higher vision. On Tuesday, the moon moves from Sagittarius into Capricorn with a void of course period between 01:42 and 09:01 GMT. Today we do see the potential to move something forwards in a very real and pragmatic way. Even a more emotionally loaded conversation or communication may actually present you with exactly what you need to know in order to move something ahead. And as always, hold the higher-minded position of integrity. On Wednesday, we reach a super full moon in Capricorn. Super full moon means that she's very close to the Earth, so and the energy is very powerful. She will be exact at 18:37 p.m. GMT time. And today we do see immense potential for tensions to peak, but the purpose is to bring transformations of higher purpose. So these are the timings. If you're in Los Angeles, the moon will reach her fullest on the 13th of July at 11:37 a.m. It will be the 13th of July in New York, 14:37 p.m. London, 13th of July, 19:37 p.m. That's because we are in British summertime here, so we're not in GMT. 14th of July in Sydney, 04:37 a.m. and 14th of July in Auckland, 06:37 a.m. The overall dynamics of this full moon really remind me of the combination of the tarot cards of Judgment and the Wheel of Fortune. We're inviting evaluation and indicating a significant turning point. The enhanced influence of a super full moon brings illumination, and flowing within the influence of Capricorn, it invites practical, pragmatic review with a realistic summing up, that's the card of Judgment, and a realistic appraisal. With three of the big influences, that's Pluto, Saturn and Neptune, all now in retrograde, and actually Jupiter will be joining them by the end of the month, retrospective reflections are definitely invited. Even though it's a full moon, we have illumination asking us to review. And as our beautiful moon is joining forces with Pluto, these reflections may well be opening pathways to transformation, rebirth and renewal. The powerful lunar energy today is also added to by the Great Awakener Uranus, who is collaborating with the karmic energy of the North Node, creating the energetic potential to bring new perspectives, out-of-the-box solutions and unexpected new opportunities. This energy may not be without tension, but my goodness me, we are being offered huge potential for transformation, for holding a higher vision for humanity at large, as well as ourselves individually, and resolution, different ways of seeing things, finding solutions that bring about peace and harmony. On Thursday, the moon moves from Capricorn into Aquarius with a void of course period between 04:16 and 08:14 a.m. GMT. The super full moon brought a dynamic opportunity to bring things to a head, to sum up and to review. And now the waning gibbous moon phase is naturally inviting a period of integration and adjustments. Now, whilst we may still be feeling a bit emotionally charged, the overall energy today supports conscious, evolutionary movements forward. On Friday, the moon is in Aquarius, and overall we see a much more gentle and more balanced dynamic. However, from around midday GMT, things do start to take on a different feel because the moon is connecting in with the karmic nodes and with Uranus, the Great Awakener, whose energy comes to shake us up a bit. And the moon then joins Saturn. So what does this mean? I am tending to feel as though today is a day of consequences with real massive potential to create great leaps ahead. We may not move them forwards immediately, but we're able to begin to see how we might move them forwards. So areas where huge resistance to evolutionary change is present may actually feel disrupting, but I think other areas may actually begin to feel as though they're leveling out and we can begin to see where we're going. On Saturday the 16th, completing our week, Saturday to Saturday week of lunar updates, the moon will move from Aquarius into Pisces with a small void of course period between 04:36 and 08:18 a.m. GMT. Today, the influence of our beautiful moon supports a significant easing off of the pressure that we've been feeling, and this begins a weekend of absolutely delightful flow. Now, this energy really does invite recuperation, spiritual practice, slowing down, and above all, self-care. And remember, self-care is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of consciousness. The more you look after you, the more you will have to give to anything and everybody else. Super Souls, I hope you have enjoyed those lunar updates, and if you are mad about manifesting with the moon and you'd like to know a little bit more, I will now give a kind of a hands-on daily tutorial just looking at the influence of the moon, how she collaborates with the other planetary alignments, and how her energy, her incoming energy, actually affects us, and therefore what we can do with that knowledge as a source of empowerment. And of course, if you would like to get a daily nudge with the images that you've just seen, I do post them daily on Facebook and Instagram. That's Moon Magic Jenny Florence. You can find my pages there. Tons and tons of love to you. Have an amazing week, and I will hopefully see you in the tutorials. Tons of love. Welcome to the Moon Magic lunar tutorial for the week. Now, hopefully this is going to give you an idea of really how working with the incoming energy of the moon, well, how it really works. So first of all, let's look at the moon phase. I mean, this is really where the planets are at the moment. We're going to look at the moon phase for the coming week. So right now the moon is actually getting bigger. Okay, she is in her waxing gibbous phase. At the moment she is up here in Scorpio, and she's going to continue to get bigger. Okay, so her energy is rising. It's a bit like she's in an accelerating, if you were in a car, her energy is accelerating, which means that the incoming energy that we feel with the lunar influence is getting stronger, and it will get stronger as she gets bigger and bigger until she actually reaches her fullest, which will be on Wednesday in Capricorn when we have a super full moon. Okay. As she passes through each of the zodiac signs, her energy is embodying something of the personality of that sign. So that's the way the incoming energy is affecting us, and we can use that energy to our advantage if we understand the nature of it. Once she has reached her fullest, she's going to start to diminish. We often feel quite a significant shift, like an energy in the air changes. And as she shifts, by the time we get through to the following Saturday, Saturday the 16th, her energy will be still be quite heightened, but there's a very distinct, noticeable shift in what I would call a shift from acceleration to deceleration. And you may well notice this in the way that your own energy responds and your own responses to what is going on in your personal world. She'll be shifting into Pisces by the time we reach Saturday the 16th. So as she is journeying, she's increasing, so we're getting an increase in energy, a greater impetus, then a shift, and it doesn't mean we lose momentum, but we can consolidate as she then begins to diminish. There's still energy available, but we're now leveled out. It's like if you've taken off, if you're in an aeroplane, you've taken off, you know, once you're up in the air and you've reached your altitude, and it sounds like, you know, they ease off the engines, they don't have to be full steam ahead, but you're still going. Okay, so that's where the lunar energy is going to be over the next week. What will then happen is, if there are any major planetary dynamics going on, as the moon passes them, she will potentially add her energy to the existing dynamic. And likewise, if there is an underlying, a big astrological collaboration going on that's having a big global impact on us, her energy may actually soften that, or indeed it may accelerate it. And our awareness of that is helpful when we are manifesting and just simply navigating our own lives. So I'll talk a little bit about that now. I mean, the dailies are obviously a reflection of those energies, just sort of in a statement, so to speak. What we are seeing on Saturday the 9th is a very interesting collaboration, because the moon is going to journey past the pathway of the nodes, the north and the south node, and she'll actually be passing the south node and she'll be in opposition to the north node. The north node happens to be sitting with Uranus. Uranus is known as the Great Awakener. He can bring unexpected happenings, and you know, he shakes our world up a little bit, but he holds higher values. So with the karmic aspect, the destiny aspect of the nodes, we might expect with energy rising especially with the moon in Scorpio, for a possibility of sort of some deep diving, deep investigation, stuff being shown to us at depth that will allow us to potentially make changes for the better. I mean, that's the higher energetic. I would say, super souls, remember, with every energy there is a higher energetic and a lower energetic. The higher will always hold, we're holding the higher pathway, the higher intent of the universe, the higher intent of increasing levels of consciousness personally and for humanity, whereas the lower energetic sometimes can be a bit chaotic with Uranus. But the chaos is designed to create change. Now, there's a couple of other dynamics going on at the moment which stay for a few days that I think are worth noting. The most important here, I think, is Jupiter, who is in Aries. Jupiter wants to expand everything, and Jupiter is currently in a square with Lilith. Lilith calls for justice. She reminds us of often stuff that's been swept under the carpet, things that were not okay, that were denied or ignored, injustice, inequality. So and I would venture to say we are seeing lots of things being brought to light that demand a greater level of integrity. So that's the flavour of that. And all of this is ultimately also about bringing about healing. The energy of Chiron is also squaring up with the Sun here in Cancer. So although this is going on in the background, because it's a background level of energy that's coming in globally, the karmic connections are quite likely on an individual basis, or even on a global way, to open opportunities for significant change, but they may come in the way of a bit of a shake-up. And we are seeing ultimately the universal desire for creative healing and for humanity to, in a way, move beyond these kind of challenges. So that's really the underlying energy of Saturday the 9th. Let's look at Sunday the 10th. So at this point, although some of these collaborations are still going on, they ease a little bit. There's nothing as strong or direct as the day before. The strongest connections are the moon will have moved beyond the node. She's now going to move today into Sagittarius. And as she moves into Sagittarius, she makes a sextile with Pluto. So we have Pluto here. Pluto is the planet of rebirth. Okay, there's the moon and there's Pluto. And Pluto is in Capricorn. So Pluto's in retrograde, but Pluto is the planet of transformation and rebirth. And this is a very favourable connection. So the moon is trying to add weight, momentum, acceleration to any opportunities that we are personally striving for in our world that bring about genuine change. There's also another lovely sextile at the bottom of the chart here between Uranus and the node and the Sun. So there's a really interesting energy on Sunday the 10th that really does invite us to potentially find creative solutions. You know, it's almost like those karmic possibilities are really with us today for change and transformation and the acceleration of that. Let's look at Monday. Now, Monday is very interesting. The lunar energy is very, very powerfully positive on Monday in terms of moving things forwards. So let's move all our planets back. So the moon is now in Sagittarius firmly. Again, she's building, she's still accelerating, but she is really in a very strong trine with Chiron. Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries, wanting to bring about healing. So if there are any areas of discord in your life, trust me, they are calling to be healed, to be moved forwards. The Sagittarian influence, we've got two fire signs here, calling for renewed optimism, dynamic actions that move things forward and create the potential for healing. There's a real underlying push to find resolution here as we move towards the super full moon. Tuesday the 12th, as the moon continues to move through Sagittarius and into Capricorn, this lovely trine, lunar trine energy, actually shifts and meets Mars. So again, really interesting. We now have, you know, 2 earth signs. So this is about bringing things into, you know, taking pragmatic action to be able to move something forwards. The theme of resolution is very strong at the moment. We also actually have another beautiful trine in play today, very strong, between Saturn and Venus. Saturn calls for restructure, Venus calls for harmony. So there's an underlying energy as well overall, astrologically, again, calling for healing, calling for restructure, calling for resolution, and to move things forwards. There is also a dynamic between Chiron here. Now it's a square, a little less harmonious, between Chiron here and Mercury, who has now moved closer to the Sun. But again, we are calling for, okay, maybe some strong communications that can help to aid healing. I mean, this for me would suggest the potential for very clear, strong communications. They may not be the easiest thing to hear or to say, but my goodness me, they will result in actually some powerful opportunities to consolidate and move something forwards and find restructure and resolution. On Wednesday, we have a super full moon. Let's move our little dynamic sticks out. We have a super full moon, and the super full moon is in Capricorn. Very, very interesting, very powerful. Now, whenever the moon is full, she is opposite the Sun. That's the nature of the full moon. They sit, the moon and the Sun sit directly opposite one another. So there we have that strong, strong, strong connection. As the moon, because the moon moves quite quickly, she does activate some other oppositions. She activates an opposition with Mercury, and Pluto is also in a loose opposition with the Sun, as the Sun itself is also, from our perspective, moving. So it's quite a strong sense of challenge here, potentially. And we also see, added to this dynamic, the moon is squaring with Chiron now, who wants healing. And we also see Chiron is then in turn squaring down here. With the Sun and with Mercury. We have another square as well here between Neptune and Venus. Here's Neptune, watery Neptune and Venus. So we actually do have quite a lot of discord actually around, or you know, around this full moon. We have a lovely, lovely energy also connecting to Venus between Saturn and Venus. So again, calling for restructure, calling for balance. What this suggests is, I think, anything in the build up to this super full moon that hasn't really been attended to is potentially going to be resurfaced or call for further attention. And it may not be as harmonious as we would like, but the higher energetic is really about, it's like when you have a blazing row and it clears the air and you find solution and resolution. The purpose of all of this coming up is that we create significant and powerful changes. So there's lots of opportunity here, but you know, it may not be as easy or as straightforward as we might like. Thursday 14th. Let's clear away our dynamics here for a moment and start afresh and see where the moon moves to. Now the moon actually then moves into Aquarius. She's past Pluto. She's not with Saturn yet, but she's heading in that direction. Now she's in a very strong square today with Mars. So this is pretty fiery stuff, I want to say. You know, the moon and Mars can, if you think about water of the moon and Mars being about fire, this can create steam. Because Mars is in Taurus and the moon is in Aquarius, take the higher road. Hold your vision. Hold the higher purpose, hold the higher vision. Approach things with dynamic energy, rather than being a bull in a china shop, okay? Rather than that kind of like Taurian energy. Take things slow, steady, be meticulous. Actually, pay attention to the detail and keep the bigger picture in mind. That's really the energy here. Things could be a little bit emotional. Neptune is still in a square with Venus, and Neptune energy is interesting. It's a very spiritual energy. It's a very watery energy. It's very emotional. Sometimes though with Neptune we can get a little bit confused because it feels unanchored, and we can also sometimes put on rose tinted glasses. Likewise, somebody could try to pull the wool over our eyes. So be meticulous, be careful, pay attention, don't be irritated, remain grounded, anchored, and use any tension to actually consolidate what you are now aware that maybe needs to be attended to. And if you're not sure, slow down and stop and take your time. Press the pause button. Okay, Friday 15th. The moon actually is very, very close to Saturn, and in fact we'll pass Saturn today. And the moon now connects into, in a square, Uranus, the Great Awakener, and the North Node. That karmic pathway, that place of destiny. So it sort of feels, you know, maybe some things that have needed to happen will now actually happen. They're going to move forwards. Again, we're seeing traction, we're seeing consolidation. There's always the higher energetic, there's always the lower energetic, with the moon still in Aquarius, passing Saturn. Saturn wants us to restructure. Saturn wants us to recognize our potential, our fullest potential, but also our limitations, to be real about things, and yet consolidate realness into higher values. So with this karmic energy and the awakening energy of Uranus, I think this will be a potentially interesting but potentially powerfully helpful day of starting to move things forwards in a sort of a turning down the volume way, but still progressing. So going back to that aeroplane in the sky analogy that I think I used, you know, you've accelerated, you know, you've eased the engines off, you're now on your journey. You need to keep going. You don't need to speed forwards to win the race, but you still need to keep going to reach your destination. Saturday the 16th, things begin to, for me, really ease. We start to move into a space where just the whole powering up, we'll start to really notice the powering down. It's almost as if your destination is now in view, and maybe you're actually ahead of time, so you can slow down a little bit. There's that sense of beginning to ease off and relax into the journey. The moon will actually move towards and into Pisces eventually today on Saturday the 16th. As she does, not only will she have passed Saturn and moved beyond that restructuring energy, but she creates a beautiful flowing trine with Venus. So Saturday the 16th, I mean, this is the most powerful dynamic that's going on. There's other stuff in the background, but this is gorgeous from our perspective. It really, really is gorgeous, because it's like, just interesting, isn't it? I just took a deep breath. It's like we can finally take a breath. You know, it's been a powerful week, a build up to the full moon, sorting out some of the residue, lots of stuff being brought to the surface. This has been going on for a few weeks now. Suddenly we can take a breather. We can see the way forwards. Doesn't mean there isn't course correcting to be done, but you know, there's a natural time when the lunar energy will say to us, look, rest up today. Take it easy, take time out, practice the art of allowing, don't try to push anything, just allow yourself to bring yourself into balance, because all will become clear. And that is very much the energy of Saturday the 16th. A very lovely completion to our lunar week, which has had some quite significant you know, spikes of quite powerful connections going on. So super souls, for those of you that are passionate about astrology, interested in the way that the moon works, I hope this has you know, been useful, helpful. You know, do let me know, and I'm going to post these every Friday so that you've got an overview of the week ahead, and you can do the little mini tutorial or just check in on the dailies. I also post the dailies, if you want a little visual nudge, I post them on Facebook and Instagram. That's Moon Magic Tarot Jenny Florence on both of those channels if you're looking. And Super Souls, just tons of love. Have an amazing week. I look forward to seeing you for the Sunday readings. If you would like to get notification of any of my postings, whether it's the lunar updates for the week or I post Sunday readings with guidance from Spirit, with weekly guidance every Sunday. I post spontaneous readings as well that ask very direct questions that are there to help us navigate our soul's journey of evolution. So Super Souls, do press subscribe, click the little bell icon as well. And I also have a monthly prize draw when I give away a free private reading and some oracle cards. Again, it's a subscriber offer and there's a subscriber email list. I will put all the links in the information box below, and just wishing you so much love and an amazing week. And yeah, for those of you who are serious about manifesting with the moon and really understanding the energy, because that's the key to manifestation. It's awareness, understanding, and being able to be empowered from the inside out. I hope this has been helpful. Tons and tons of love.